What's up, meatbags? It's the often imitated, never duplicated Tony TGD, and I'm coming at you with a quick little review of Chenso Club. It is a new game. It just released September 1st. I was lucky enough to get a review copy, so I went ahead, I played the game, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on it. But before I tell you my thoughts on the game, let me give you a little background information. The publisher of Chenso Club is Curve Games. It was developed by Pixadome, but they got a little bit of help from Aurora Punks. It's going to run you $14.99 on the Steam, PS4, Xbox One, or the Switch. Now, in Chenso Club, you got only one mode. It's story mode, but it has 5 levels you can eventually unlock. You can replay the levels. It does loop as you play. Every time you beat a level, the game gets increasingly harder. So that's one of the gimmicks of the game. It is roguelike, so there's a lot of randomization in the stages. Each level, each stage has multiple little mini stages in it, and they're single screen levels. You just got to clear all the enemies out, and then you move on to the next single screen. Uh, Repeat until you get to the boss, and beat the boss, and move on to the next level. Now, there are 5 characters in the game you can eventually unlock. You start off with Blue the android. She has a chainsaw on a bat type thing. Uh, she's evenly balanced out of all the characters. Then you got Carmine. She's a knight with a giant hammer. She's the strongest of all the characters, a little bit slower than Blue. You got Plum. She's a witch, got very powerful magic. However, unlike the other characters, Plum cannot just use her special abilities at will. She's got to build up a little meter by hitting enemies with her broom. Then you got Alice. She's a climber. She has a multi-tool. She's very quick. She's the quickest of all the heroines in the game. And her multi-tool can be used as sort of a grappling hook to hook onto the ceiling, hook onto platforms, hook onto enemies. Very versatile in movement. And the last character is the Firefighter Molly. She has the strongest defense. She's the slowest character in the game, but she has the only actual long range attack. She shoots water bubbles out of her water cannon. However, she has to replenish her water cannon by pumping it with the special attack button. So there is a trade off between being able to shoot long range and having enough bullets. Now there's 4 modes in the game, 4 different difficulties. You got story, which gives you 200 HP off bat, which makes the game a breeze to play. You can beat the game in maybe an hour if you just speed through everything, maybe an hour and a half if you're a slow reader, because you get so much life that pretty much nothing's a challenge. As you beat enemies, you're going to be getting little life power-ups to replenish your life. So even if you get a little bit hurt, you're going to get it back, especially on story mode where, like I said, you get 200 HP. On the other 3 difficulty settings, which is casual, standard, insane, you only start with 20 HP. And the difference between those 3 modes is how strong the enemies are, how hard they hit you, how much damage you take. On insane, the game is super hard. On casual, it's still not that hard, but it can be, depending on what random items you get. And there is a lot of random items because you're going to get power-ups of various forms, different items to help you out. Eventually, you're going to unlock something called the Chirp Network, which is supposed to be like Twitter. You'll find different people during the stages. They'll join your Chirp Network, and then you'll be able to unlock different power-ups. Now, you should note that when you unlock these power-ups, they're not permanent. They don't apply to your character right away. They just unlock them to be added to the rotation for different power-ups you meet during the stages. There is a item shop where you have to trade your life for different power-ups, things like that. You'll eventually find bonus levels where you can win items, win power-ups based on how much blood you collect. So you have to kill a bunch of enemies. Depending on the bonus level, sometimes it's just a single screen, sometimes it's a side-scrolling platformer. There are several mini games. You'll eventually run into a ninja who gives you an option between 3 chests. One of those chests has an item. The other 2 will cost you some life. And there's also a spin the wheel type mini game that you'll eventually run into. All in all, this is a very fun game. It's very short, like I said, 5 levels, and then you get the 6th level, which unlocks, I'm not going to spoil the game, but it unlocks, you can access that at any time. Once you beat the game, once you've unlocked the 6th level, you just go into one of the normal levels, you get into the item shop, and then you'll be able to go directly to that last level to beat the game. Each character has a story, though it's not apparent until you get towards the end of the game, and then the big bad will reveal something about your character. There are interesting little tidbits, but I mean, not really necessary, not really anything that matters. Eventually, between levels, when you beat a boss, you're going to get a little mini game type thing where you have to fend off fans while also getting your picture taken. The more fans you fend off, the better looking you are in your picture. The more bonus points you get, which will give you coins to, like I said, to then go to the Chirp network and unlock power-ups to be put into the rotation. It is roguelike, like I said. The levels do change. There's a rotation of levels, so if you go into the castle, which is the first world, it might be different the second time you go into it, the third time you go into it. Like I said, not super difficult, but it's not super easy either. Is it worth the $15? That's the big question. I'm going to say yes. It is worth it. If you like platformers, if you like these little action platformer type games, this is going to be worth your $15. It is fun, very reminiscent of like a Mega Man game, but without the actual shooting mechanic, so it'd be more like a Zero game. Like I said, it's very fun, very quick. You could play it for a couple minutes, half hour, run through a couple levels, see how far you get in the game, and then just put it away and go back tomorrow and do it again. Not very heavy time investment is what I'm saying. Chenso Club, if you're into this type of game, if you like pixel art, I highly recommend it. $15, and go out and get it. Like I said, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, or Steam. I got it on the PlayStation 4, and as you can see, it runs fairly well. Not a lot of loading between stages.